On to Katie Haberman.
I've made a copy of the National Research Council summary, and I'd like to pass that around to each member.
Can you give your name
please.
and address for the clerk, please?
Katie Haberman, Cedar Rail Road, Raleigh, North Carolina. The Clean Water Act and Safe Water Drinking Act are both reliant upon the Environmental Protection Agency's establishment of valid standards for the introduction of contaminants into the environment and public water systems. Will the Council acknowledge that the Safe Water Drinking Act does exist and that the EPA sets the standards for the contaminants listed therein? Well, it exists. So in 1986, the EPA established a maximum allowable fluoride concentration of 4 parts per million. In 2006, the National Research Council informed the EPA that the standards for fluoride does not protect against adverse health effects. So vast data exists showing water fluoridation, even in small concentrations, has adverse health effects. So will the Council at least acknowledge that in 2006, which I just handed you a summary of, the National Research Council informed the EPA that the current standards for fluoride in the drinking water does not protect against adverse health effects? It doesn't. So going back to the adverse health effects, the National Research Council states that dental fluorosis is most prevalent in children 1 to 8 years of age, that skeletal fluorosis and bone fractures are most prevalent in populations who have consumed fluoride their entire lives. The Raleigh City Council's policy of water fluoridation puts every resident who drinks city water from birth to an elderly age at risk for dental fluorosis, skeletal fluorosis, and bone fractures. Who pays for the internal damage done over a lifetime to the residents victims of this policy? Should those responsible for ensuring such a risk as yourselves be held responsible for any adverse health effects? Especially when the EPA's own standards are found to, quote, not protect against adverse health effects, end quote. So following the recommendations of the CDC and then making those recommendations policy, as this council has with fluoride, is most important to recognize your policy doesn't trump law. And that's why I've handed you a copy of the summary of the National Research Council. Will you at least acknowledge that I do not consent to water fluoridation? Do you not acknowledge, citizens?
Consent that you're not for fluoridation, yeah.
Great, thank you. I appreciate the acknowledgement.
Thank you very much. Your 3 minutes is up. Next we have Corey Sturmer.